All right, we're doing photos of the week from ending September 8th. And what I've done was I took all the photos of the week, I put them into a few folders. These are the winners. We're going to look at the winners today. Tomorrow I'll probably look at ones that I put into a folder called Lesson. And then I have some other ones that just go into submissions, so I don't have anything to say about them. I'll just let you see them. Okay, so for photos of the week, here are the photos of the week. If I see if yours is in there. So what I determined for photo of the week was if your photo was good enough to possibly win photo of the month, then it's photo of the week. If it's not, then I put it into the lessons folder. I might talk about it, or the submissions folder. That's what's going on. So I'm going to open all of them. I'm going to open them up, and I'm going to be telling you, we'll talk about the picture. If one of these is yours, and I'm telling you what has to happen to this picture to make it good enough, then you got to make sure you're paying attention, and you got till Friday to fix it. Because I didn't teach you guys how to do certain things in here yet. All right? I wouldn't expect you to know how to do certain things yet. Okay? So, I'm telling you now, though. And if one of your pictures is not up here, doesn't matter. I'm still going to teach the whole class how to do certain things to the pictures so you know how to for the rest of the school year and the rest of your life, you know? So this is photography. We're no longer just taking pictures. It's photography, okay? So here's, I'm just going to go in order here. Masuda Ahang took this picture. I like it. It was submitted to Student Life. It's in focus, really nice on our eyeballs. Let's talk about it, though. The focus, by the way, this was taken with I believe it was taken with a D3500 camera from school here. Okay, so the focal point, if it was right in the middle, it's going to be right on her forehead here. Okay, now, before I get into the picture, you saw what I did. I just right mouse clicked, I went to File Info, and this is from the Picture Viewer app, okay, on the desktop computer. You can look at the settings here. You can also right mouse the picture itself, go to Properties, click on Details, and you can see your information here. I asked you guys to fill out the form correctly. If you didn't fill out a form correctly, but you have an awesome picture, you didn't get a photo of the week. Some people just turn in a great photo, they got no form. Or they turn in a photo and the form is half-baked. Like, what the heck? Fill out the form right. When you fill out the form right, you got to look at this info on here. Okay, this tells you your exposure, your shutter speed there. ISO, f-stop is your aperture, and this is where I can see if it's taken on manual or not. Exposure program manual. That's important to me if you're using a DSLR. But for this class, except for 3 people in the production class, you guys are allowed to use your smartphones. You're going to see a lot of smartphone pictures that are vertical because people hold their cameras vertical when they have a smart. You can turn it sideways too, you know. Did you not? And if you're using a DSLR, you can turn your DSLR vertical. You can do that too. It's amazing. So check it out. If you go here and you got nothing, let's say you open this thing up, you read mouse click, there's like 7, 8, 9 pictures that I got nothing. There's nothing here. And I figured out why. Some people have an iPhone, it might be an 11 or 12, maybe even a 10. Yeah, 10, 11, 12 maybe. But you have it, your pictures are set on HEIC, high efficiency setting in your iPhone, okay? And you got to change that. And I have a place in Google Classroom where I put it for all the classes in there. I want you to go there, not now, but in Google Classroom. So anywho's, you click on period 4, digital media. I put this thing in here, iPhone users, okay? All you got to do is, it says 1, 2, 3, 4 right here. If you don't have an iPhone, you probably don't have this feature. I don't know. I don't have a Google or a Samsung. I don't know. But people who have iPhones, they give me pictures. There's no settings on them because you have it on HEIC. Go to Settings, go to Camera, Format, and switch it over from HEIC to JPEG. Now listen, if you want to take a 4K video with your iPhone, you got to put it back on HEIC. Sorry. If you pick up a camera, like from the back room here, you check one out, you got to look at all the settings and make sure it's set the way you want it to be set. If you drive a car and you want to go backwards, sorry, you got to put the car in reverse. You want to go forward again, you got to put it in drive. You got to do that. Same with the camera. You don't just pick up a camera and start taking pictures. You got to look at the settings because who knows what the settings are on, especially if you're borrowing a camera that someone else has used. Okay, that's on you. Don't give me a picture and say, oh, Mr. Domer, I didn't know the settings. I'm telling you now. Make sure you know what's going on with your camera. So that's what's going on with these. If you've got an iPhone at your leisure, please, take care of that. And, well, that'll be taken care of then. Okay, so back over to these pictures now. Okay, so this is what we have. We got this girl right smack dab in the middle because the focal point was probably right on her forehead. So we ended up with all this dead space up top and all this dead space on the side, all this. Like, what's going on here? But the big problem is this guy's elbow right here, or guy's butt, or whatever that is, on the side. All right? How do you fix that? Open it with Photoshop. Now, this is taken with the Nikon camera. If it's with your phone, you can crop it on your phone. But you can open it with Photoshop. Okay, all I like to do on my computer, I go to right mouse click, I open with Photoshop. It's right there. If yours isn't right there, when you right mouse click on a picture, you can scroll down, nope, more apps. Scroll down, nope, no apps. Look on an app on this PC. It's in Adobe. Find Adobe Photoshop, the highest. You should have one, but if you have more than one, it's the highest one. Then find the app, the application for Photoshop. Click it, open it. I've already done it, so mine's listed there. Okay, so open it with Photoshop. Okay, once it opens, I'm going to show you the tools you guys will be using to fix these pictures up. Okay, this is a JPEG, so it just opens right in Photoshop. Okay, now I want to use the crop tool. Crop tool is listed over here. I've been using it all day. Hover over, it says crop tool. Okay, this is important. It's on ratio with nothing in these fields here. Do not get stuck on another one we've been using with height resolution for Yearbook. It might be set on that on your computer. Don't do that because this one, look, we're making a 1.5 inch by 1 inch picture. Don't do that because you're going to end up with a tiny little picture. You got to make sure that your picture is what you want. Change it over to ratio and you'll end up with, well, you can change the ratio of it, but you're not going to be changing the size and the pixels and all that kind of stuff. So if I just take this, I can put this anywhere I want, but I don't want to do that. I want to leave it in the right spot. So I'm going to use the Shift button on my keyboard. Hold down Shift, and then as I change it, I cannot change the shape of the rectangle as far as how wide and tall it is as the ratio. I can only change the size of it. So I'm going to hold the Shift button down and do that. The best place for this right now is right there. Except we've got this guy's elbow and all that. It's just a distraction. If you're going to put enough of him in the picture, at least half his head, and okay, great, but he's just a little bit jutting in there, so that's no good. So another option is you could go over to about right here. See what I did right there? I could crop it to right there. She's back into the middle. Still got some dead space here. It's all right. That's second best. There's another option. You can go up to this double arrow, change the aspect ratio here, or the width and height, switches it, go like that, and then okay, and you got to decide how much you want over her head, holding the Shift button down, keep the ratio right. You wouldn't want to make a square picture out of it. Keep it a rectangle, all right? So, maybe about there, maybe put it, don't put her right in the middle, give her a place to go. Although she's not going anywhere, she's sitting there, all right? So, something in front of her like that, that's where I would do this one. That's why I put this picture. It's still big enough. It was taken with a big camera, a big sensor, so it's a 24 megapixel picture to start out, I believe, and it's still, it's 10 by 7 picture. It's good. It's fine. So that's a 300 resolution, okay? So if you do something like that, then don't just save and close it. I want you to go to File, Save As, and then you're going to put _edit after the file name. Okay, _edit, because this is an edited version. If you destroy the original one, but you don't do it right, you got to go back and find the original somewhere, or wherever it might be, and get it. But this one is _edit. Now, your computer might be set on 8 quality. Take it up to highest quality, that maximum baseline standard. So 12 baseline standard, that's the one you want. Okay, and I can close that down. That's what I would do with that picture. So I hope you're getting that. That's what I would do by Friday to fix that up and send it back in, because you're competing against the others for the photo of the month. And look, in the folder now, you'll see we've got the original, And then now here's the edited one. You turn in both of them. All right, for photo of the month, for photo of the week, you turn in both. Okay. All right, next one is this one. Daniel took this picture. I love it. And I sent him a message on there. By the way, all your pictures in Google Classroom, I sent you the score already and a message on there probably, especially if it needed something. And he already got back to me. He said, oh, yeah, I didn't even notice that, but here it is. So what didn't he notice? You can just say it. Anyone can say it. What is in this picture I'm going to say doesn't belong? Yeah, that thingy up top. There's another leaf coming up from up top. Right. Okay. Now, on your computers, in the classroom, you'll see over, especially over in here, it's called banding. You see those lines? They get from a light green to a darker green as it goes down. If you look at the TV in the classroom over there, you don't see it. This is a better resolution, that's all. The picture's perfect. Look at the TV up top if you want to see it just right. Okay? But this little bit of another leaf up top here is the one thing. Some other people mentioned this white. No, this is fine because there's enough of it there. If this was only just a tiny bit of this white leafy stuff over here, I'd have a problem with that too. But there's enough of it. This one right here. So I'm going to right mouse click. I'm going to open this one with Photoshop. And it doesn't need anything, in my opinion, as far as adjusting color or exposure and all that. It's all just right. But I need to get rid of that. I would do it here. I'd make sure I'm on ratio. Crop tool. Photoshop will remember last time you were on a tool to leave it there, so you don't have to keep going back to it. Hold down the shift button, and I'll just take it down to right there. That's enough. Nothing else down here. There's nothing. Hit enter. That's that. Okay. So again, file save as a JPEG. We didn't do anything Photoshop-wise in here. Just file save as with underscore edit. All right, I'm not going to keep doing it over and over for this presentation because I did it once. You saw it. Something I'll do a couple times. All right, so that's it. Nice shot. Look, what do I like about it? The sunlight coming in, it's backlit, so the sunlight is coming in from the other side of this leaf on this plant here and somewhere in the shade. The sunlight's coming in here. It's in great focus right on these thingies here. So it's pretty cool. All right, so repetition 2. Quality of light, perspective is cool, so it's a nice shot overall. Okay, so that is that one. Good job. I'm not saving this. Okay, so you got till Friday to fix that up. Okay, so let's go to another one. This one is taken by Alexis Cornell. Very cool. He said in his write-up, by the way, you got to do the write-up correctly. So I said in his write-up, his dog was laying outside in either driveway or whatever it was. And he's looking at him. He got his phone, got a lower perspective there to look cooler. And to his surprise, the dog was laying there looking at him. Focus is on the eyeballs. Looks great. Eyeballs for living things. People, animals, insects, whatever. Focus on the eye. If it's not on the eye, it won't be a good picture. Most likely. All right, so anything that's living, worms, whatever, focus on the eyeball. Okay? So, let's talk about this picture now. It's a JPEG. You can use Camera Raw filter to edit JPEGs now. So let me show you what we're going to do. I'm going to right mouse click and open with Photoshop. The cropping is fine. This car back here, by the way, not a distraction to me. Not at all. You know why? It tells me where this dog is. Where's the dog? Outside, in the driveway, or maybe on the sidewalk, going to the driveway. I'm sure it's safe. Look, it gives it a place. It's not like a little tiny bit of a car. It's like, what is that? It's good. Everything's good. Everything's fine with it. So, this is what we're going to do. I want to edit this in Camera Raw filter. I want to edit not on this layer, though, because if I screw up the edit, I want to be able to start over without having to go back and get another version of this. So I'm going to hit Control-J on my keyboard. And this one, I'll call it Camera Raw Filter. Camera Raw Filter. CRF. I'll just put that so I know what I did on this layer. Now on this layer, I can go up to Filter, and then here's Camera Raw Filter. All right, wait a sec, and this thing will come up. This comes up. This is called Camera Raw Filter. It has a whole bunch of settings on here you can deal with. I'm going to show you my workflow and what I do. Okay, this is what I do. I start with the exposure, and I put it where I kind of think is close to where I think it looked when I was there. Now guess what? I wasn't there. Alexis took the picture. But I want you to put it as though you think if you were there. Because look, this dog is not in the direct sunlight. The sunlight's on its snout a little bit. Forehead is in the shade and all that. But try to put it about where you were there, or if you were there, okay? And then what I do is I start with clarity. I put that on 10. I learned that from a pro guy. And then I go to blacks, whites with the alt button. Then I go shadows and highlights. And that's what I do. I'm going to show you what I mean. The black slider, without touching anything, I'll show you what it does. So it takes it down to the left. It gives more black. This takes away. So I want to look at this. If you hold the alt button down and you start going, I'm going to the left now. You see how those black pixels start to appear the more I go over there? So I'm going to go till the first black pixels start to appear a little bit right there. To let go, it's right down in here. They're starting to appear a little bit. With the alt button, press down, okay? So about like chip, and then the whites, I can hold that white down again. Now, you see all this up in here is overexposed. Not overexposed. It's just, it's very bright. Some of the pixels even washed out a little bit. But if I hold the alt button down on there, I'm going to get that. And then here, I'm starting to see a little bit of white here and here. So it's almost like you want the whites to be as close to the whites that you want, meaning the ones in the dog, as close to, we'll call it blown out, as possible without being blown out. So I want it to be about like right there. All right, now the letter P button at this point is not print, it's preview in Camera Raw. So I'm going to hit the P button. That's the original. And then that's what I've made it so far. Okay, see the difference? There's the original. Can you see how it looks a little bit? It's got a little bit of washout over the whole thing. And there's that. Let me tell you why. This, taken with an iPhone or some camera or whatever it was, or some smartphone. The camera is trying to average all the light. It doesn't know that this is a dog and that's a car and there's the sky and trees and whatever. It doesn't know that. It's just a phone. All it knows is light. So it's trying to average it all together. That's why you get this washed out look. It's kind of averaging. This is what I want to make it look like we're there. Now, there's two more to deal with, and that is the shadows and the highlights. Watch what the shadow slider does. I'm going to go all the way with it. That's the shadows slider. Taking away shadows, adding shadows. I know that dog's in the shadow a little bit here. Snout's, got some light on it. And then the highlights, same thing. Highlights deals with the whites. Look at the car in the background. If I take that all the way this way, and then this way, it doesn't really affect the dog hardly at all, right? So I'm going to put this about where I think my eyes would deal with it. The human eye is so much better than any camera made yet. Human eyes focus faster. We see light better. We see color better. Everything's better about it if you got a healthy, normal eye. Okay? Did you know that cameras are modeled after human eyes? Okay? The shutter on a camera, you've got eyelids, open and close. Okay? The pupil in your eyeball is like the aperture in a lens. It opens and closes how big or how small, how much light comes through. Whoever invented cameras and lenses and all that, they consider the human eye for their model to make these things. So, anyway, I'm going to put this where I think it would look just about right that our human eye would see, because as you adjust, as you look from the dog to the car and wherever with your human eye, your eye is so fast, it doesn't really look like that. It actually looks like, with detail, you can see that. It looks a little better. So I hit the letter P. There's the original picture, and then there's the edited one. It's pretty close, but I hope you agree the edited one looks even better. It looks more like you were there. So with this, I'm going to hit OK. All right. Now if I toggle this, this is a Photoshop document now because I have layers. I can toggle that. There's the original, and then there's the edited one I'm doing there. I'm going to go to File, Save As. So now I'm going to have 3 copies. Save As. You see how it automatically knows it's going to be a Photoshop document now because it's got layers. I'm going to get rid of that JPEG there, and this is going to be _ edit. Okay, it's going in the same place, but then I want to do another one, Save As. Now I noticed this school year on some of your computers, depending on what version of Photoshop's on there, it might not allow you to put Save As a JPEG. You got to go Save a Copy. So that's a note, Save a Copy on yours, but on mine it's just a Save As, and I can change this over to JPEG. it's going to have an edit on there. I just put it there. I'm going to hit save. And there you go. 12 standard, because I was just here doing that. It'll remember my last settings. And then I'm going to close this down. So I look back in the folder, close that down. Look back in the folder. There are the 2 copies of the JPEGs and the Photoshop document. You can turn all 3 in. I had certain students tell me via the message on Google Classroom that Google Classroom did not allow them to turn in such a huge file of the Photoshop document. Like this one, it says 86 megabytes now, 89 megabytes. Okay? And these are smaller. This one is 4 megabytes, and this one is 2 megabytes. Okay? Just the Photoshop documents are huge, so try to turn it in. If you can't, send me a message saying Photoshop's too big to turn in this one, so I'll have to check it out another way. Get it from you, okay? So anyway, that's that one. We go to the next picture. Malin Cortez took this picture. Pretty cool. I wouldn't crop out the top. I'd leave it. Otherwise, you end up making a square picture anyway. You just get less clouds. But this is the type of picture, too, that you might see in a magazine or in a yearbook where you put the whole picture there. At the top, you put your title on the sky. You put the words of the story on the blue, maybe right here. That's what they do with pictures sometimes with extras. So that's something to consider for that. I'm going to right mouse click this one, open it with Photoshop. I'm going to mess with Camera Raw for this. So Control J. By the way, you can do Control J, or you can drag this background down to next to the trash can. This one has a plus sign. Sometimes they don't, but it's to make a new layer copy there. And then either way, doesn't matter. Control J does the same thing, or drag it down. I like controls on the keyboard better. It's just faster. I tell you a lot to do. So I'm going to click on the background copy. I'm going to go to Filter. Now look, see Camera Raw Filter? Don't click that, because this has all the settings that we just did for that other picture we just did, the dog. If I click it, it'll make a change. It does that, but that's not what I want to do for this picture. Those are the dog settings. I want to go to Filter, then Camera Raw Filter. Okay? I'll do this first so I don't forget. I like to name these CRF. Camera Raw Filter. If I know what I did on that one. Filter, I'm going to go to this one. This is a fresh new Camera Raw Filter without the old settings. Okay? Now, again, I'm looking at this histogram up here too. This shows the dark pixels, and this shows the light pixels. And you usually want to get to the edges best you can, but you got to consider what's in the picture too. This doesn't know what's going on here. It doesn't know that's sky and clouds and light clouds and dark clouds. I'm just going to take this exposure. I'm going to go all the way and show you what it does. It takes everything to the dark. This takes everyone to the light. So I'm going to put this best I can to about what I think it should look like. Okay, now I'm going to put clarity. I'm going to put it at 10. Most pictures I do that. Sometimes I don't. I'll show you a couple with people in there. I'm going to show you why. I might do something different with clarity, but usually put it at 10. And then same with blacks. As far as looking at that, I can go way over to get any pixels here. But I'm looking at the dark clouds in this one. These are, I don't know, they got cirrus clouds back here, and then cumulus Columbus clouds or whatever. I don't know what they're called. And then this looks like a rain cloud, though. It's going to be darker. And then for whites, same thing. You can take that over. I don't want to blow out a whole lot. If I can handle that with highlights too. So that's looking better. The letter P will show me so far. That's the original. And that's a little better. Okay. Now, on your computers right now, you'll see banding coming across the sky there. Look at the big TV in the screen. On the screen there, you won't see it. I don't know. It's just a lower resolution. You don't see it on my screen either. So anyway, that's the letter P clicked right here. So I'm going to work on that. The shadows, I can take the shadows. Again, I'm looking at how do I think this picture should look. If you're the photographer, you were there. You know how bright the sky was, the color of the sky, you know, what it's supposed to look like, the clouds, you know. So set this so you think it looks as real. You don't want to cook it, make it look fake. Some people cook their HDR pictures, make them look fake. I don't like it. Make it look real, like you were there, like your eyeballs saw it, which are better than cameras. There's the original, kind of washed out, and then there's a better one. Okay, I think that's done. I'm going to hit OK. And then, again, go to File, Save As. And then this one, at the end of it, I'm going to put underscore edit. Notice there's one of them in there already. Now is the second Photoshop document. It's looking for Photoshop documents now because I've done that. Okay, so I put edit there. I'm going to go to File, Save As, or save a copy if your computer has that one. and change it to the first JPEG. I don't know what these other two JPEGs are. I never used them. Didn't bother. JPEG, it's called edit already. It's saved, and then 12 baseline standard. Okay, and it's good to go. All right, so that's that one. Again, this lesson, my goal is to get through these to talk about these pictures here. Now, next one, this girl, Electra Harris, out of first period. I'll open this one up. I didn't even touch it. I love it. What is it? She curled the book page over, or rolled it over, and she took her camera, looked down into that. So what does she have in this one? She got depth. That's what you call it. That's the category for this one, depth. She's also got repetition for the text on the page. It looks pretty cool. It's a nice picture. I don't think it's too dark or too bright. I think it's just right. I wouldn't touch it. It's all good. So I thought she did a good job with that. Okay. So that's that one. Now, you notice this PNG right here? From now on, you're turning in JPEGs. Don't give me PNG files. This PNG might have been from, I don't know, I got to look at her thing. I think she used an iPhone 11 or 12 or something like that to shoot this thing. That's why she had it on HEIC. But I told you already, switch it over to JPEG, and that's what you're doing so far, okay? I can switch it over. It's just more work for me to do. And if I've got 100 pictures to do, I don't want to spend my time doing that. I want you guys to do it in 10 seconds versus me doing it all day long for everyone else, So you can switch your phone over if you're using your phone. All right, so anyway, that's a great shot. It's pretty cool. Is it going to win Photo of the Month? I don't know. It's going to try to, though. All right, so that's pretty cool. And she filled out her form correctly. Fill it out. Some people left off number 5. Description of photo. Just tell me what it is. It's a rolled over book page. There you go. That's all it is. Okay, so fill that out. Okay, moving on. This one, another one. Okay, Yuritsa Manzo. I love it. It's pretty cool. There's no need to open this one up in Camera Raw, Photoshop, or anything and do anything to it. We've got reflection and quality of light. Okay, she put in her thingy there. It's pretty cool. Little 2/3 water and the plants up top and all that. It looks nice. Focal point wise, I'm not sure there's really a great focal point. You got to consider where do you look first. There's this ray of sun right here. You got the ripples in the water here. I don't know. Do you look at the trees first? Did you notice this branch coming out over here, or maybe going into the water that might have fallen? It looked like it broke. Whatever, But overall, it's a nice shot. Okay. Again, they're a PNG file, but they're going to switch it over. Okay, this one. Okay, this one. Yana was in my other class, and we talked about this already. And she wrote it up in her write-up. She wrote that this is her. I never saw her before because she always has her mask on. I never asked a student to take a mask down, so I thought that looked like her. I guess I don't know. It was her, and so I said to her, I said, "How'd you get the picture? Because you're the photographer." Oh well, I asked my friend to take the picture. We're taking pictures of each other, and I asked my friend to take the picture, and I said, "Okay, I'll take it." Because you composed the picture, you told her exactly what to do, and she did it. But from now on is you got to use a tripod. I got tripods you can check out with little mounts for smartphones. You can use a mount to put your smartphone on it and set your timer for 10 seconds. And you go take a picture. All right. So this is it's a self-portrait basically. But let's see the problem here. The problem is it's crooked. The photographer who took it for it, it's a crooked shot. You see this house? They don't build houses like that on a hill. If it's on a hill, if it's on a hill, they're gonna straighten the house out and build into the hill a little bit to make it straight. All right, I need to straighten this picture, and then I'll do something with Photoshop. So I'm gonna open this with Photoshop. I'm gonna straighten it. Use the crop tool. I'm gonna use the grid lines in the crop tool to straighten it. So I'm gonna do this, and I'm looking at the gutter on that house up there. And that's pretty straight right there, I think. Maybe like that. We talked earlier about maybe the fence against the house, but no, not the fence. It's the house. The house is straight because the fence is at an angle to the house. So I'm going to put it, give or take, like that. Look at her feet down below. They're still in the picture, right? Do you see the... Whoops, what happened there? Again. I'm going to put it, hang on a sec. Okay, do that again. So I'm going to take this, put it about where I think is right. Okay, do you see the corners? We're losing those corners. Whatever information is in the corner, it's gone. So if you got to take this picture and you have to crop it more, not crop it, but turn it more because it was really crooked, we're going to cut our feet off, or you're losing more and more picture the more you turn a picture. So you want to take it as straight as possible when you take it. Okay, so here, again, last time I'll just straighten it out to the top of that gut over there. I think it's straight. Okay, you can go into your rulers, by the way, and take that down and look and see how straight it is if the grid lines aren't close enough. Okay, you could do that and borrow that for a sec. Okay, and then maybe put it back. Okay, so there's one more way you can straighten a picture that I hardly ever use anymore. I'll just show you what it was. It's called the straighten tool, and I don't even remember where it is anymore. I'm not going to look too long. Oh, a ruler tool. Okay, it's under this bottom one. It's called the ruler tool. Now look, the ruler tool. Click on that, and then what you do is you draw along the straight line that you want straight, like from here to there, for example, and then click on Straighten Layer. And it straightens it for you. But then what do you have? Then you've got to crop out the white stuff. You know what I mean? It's like a two-step process. But what they did was they made it better by just use the crop tool now. You can do that, and it shows you the grid lines. You can get that straight the way you want, and you're good to go. Okay? So that's what I want to show you about straightening it. If I go to Control J on this one's going to be camera raw filter. Notice her arms are super bright, and her face is not so, it should be on her face a little better. So I'm going to do, there's more we could do, but I'm going to show you a basic here. I'll go to camera raw filter here, not this one. Camera raw filter, I'm sorry, I got a new one. And then here, now this one, as I said before, I'm going to put this about where I think it ought to be, give or take. Now, I said clarity, I put it at 10 all the time, but, depending on what you want to do, like a glamour shot, a little glow on there, whatever's fine. That's okay, But I'm going to put this on 10 just because I do 10 for most shots like that. All right, blacks. Some black coming in there, and then whites are going to be they're already bright. They're already too bright, whites. By the way, if you have a slider off the center, you can double click it, and it goes back to the middle. Okay, that's how those work. Okay. And then shadows, I can deal with the shadows. Again, I wasn't there that day, but you know what? I can guesstimate what's going on with the shadows, the fence back there and all that, how much brightness is on that. Then highlights, look at her arms now. Look, if I go over here, oh wait, no, that looks like she's sprayed on a tan. And then this one is just too blown out. Okay, so I want to put it where I think is looking about correct, give or take. So if I hit the letter P, that's the original, and then that's what we're making it to. I think you can see it's kind of washed out, and this one is looking just about right, I think. So, by the way, one more thing. The letter O and the letter U will turn on like the black ones. If you have the letter U turned on, it'll show you the black without having to hold the Alt button down. And then the letter O will deal with, in red, it'll deal with the whites, the highlights like that, So you can adjust it just to whether it's not blown out, but again, I'm looking at your skin. So letter O and letter U will do the same as holding on the Alt button as you're doing it live, like that. Okay, so there's that. Again, I can toggle this on and off. That's better. I would hope you agree. That's just better, because camera doesn't know that's a person, and it's a fence and a house. It doesn't know. So then from here, I'm going to save as. I'm going to put edit on this. Did anybody learn anything yet today? Anybody? A couple hands here and there, maybe a couple. Yeah. You know what? That's your job, and my job is to teach you this because I want you guys to know this. So you're not just a picture taker. You're a photographer. So save as a JPEG 12 baseline standard. That's all good. So that's that one. That looks pretty good. Yana knows. I told her, you want to turn this picture in for photo of the month? Do this. All right? So after tomorrow, she'll have time in class, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Do this to, get it set. Okay? The from now on is you guys are doing this. You know what I mean? I'm teaching you guys this now. I'm making this video available for you to look at again and again or whatever, but this stuff, I'm already teaching you. I expect you guys to do this stuff before turning your next round of pictures on Wednesday, right? Okay, so close that out, and we're on to this one. Now this one, Brianna Molina, I love it. It's a cool picture. It's down in our aquatic school here. Now, real quick, this mask down here looks like a mask, or well, I don't know what that is, a bra, whatever that is. It can't come out. There was a guy at the Sacramento Bee a number of years ago who took a picture of like these birds, egrets or something. A bird got a frog, and then another bird got a frog. Was trying to get the same frog out of its mouth, and he was taking rapid fire pictures, click, 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 and maybe he took number 26 and then number 32 pictures, and he used Photoshop. He put them together to make one picture of both birds with the same frog in their mouth fighting for it. It was an awesome picture. But he put it together in Photoshop for a contest that he submitted to some contest in San Francisco for professional photographers. And he won a prize. And then guess what happened? A reader for the Sacramento Bee saw it and said, hey, that picture, I saw that in the Bee before, a few months ago or a year ago or whatever it was. And they investigated it, and the guy lost his contest. And guess what else he lost? He lost his job at the Sacramento Bee as a photographer. He was a full-time staff photographer. He lost his job. Everything. His career. Yeah. Because he cheated. You can't... Look, the stuff I'm teaching you with color and making it look like it looks like when you were there, that's not anything wrong. You want to make it look just right. But to take it, to change the content of a picture, especially for a newspaper, he lost his job. So don't do that. Don't take out stuff if you're going to edit this. What is the one thing in this picture I need to fix? Anyone know? Anyone notice anything about it? Yes, it's crooked. Thank you. It is. Look at this building in the middle. Now look, this pole over here and the door on the left side, and then this pole over right on the right, this building, they're bowed out because it's the lens. We take pictures with round lenses into rectangles, and what happens is with certain lenses, the wider the lens, you get this bowing effect. I'm going to talk about how to fix that in another picture. I'll show you how to fix it in another picture. It has to do with architecture. But there's a tilt shift effect you can use in Photoshop now. It's a special lens that architects use on their cameras to fix that automatically as they work. It's a tilt shift lens. You fix it. We have one for school here. But I'm going to show you how to fix that. All I'm going to do here is we're going to straighten it. So I'm going to go to, open with, Photoshop. I don't even need to mess with this picture with camera raw at all, I don't think. And I'm just going to go to the crop. And then I'm going to use the grid lines right near the sun over there, just a little bit, just to straighten it. So I think that's straight right there. By the way, you don't have to leave it here if you wanted to, because there's so much vastness. You don't need all of it, but if you wanted to, you could. I'm using the shift button. If I don't use shift, I might stretch it wrong, right? So I want to use shift. I'm going to bring the left side into about, you see those garbage cans on the left there, maybe to that person right there. And then this one, maybe I might take this one and go maybe just past that, maybe like that. I don't need the sun right in the middle. That's a good shot. They do it like that, 2/3 up. You got a lot of sidewalk in here you can do something with too, but it's a cool shot. It shows our scene in the morning, school's getting ready to open and all, okay. Or is that evening? Sunset, yeah, it's evening. The sun's way over there. So, no, it should be sunrise. So look, this one, I leave it like that. I could put it in camera raw and tweak it, but again, I think it's fine. I don't know. I wasn't there, but you can deal with that on your own. I'm going to close that. I'm not going to save this one. Right, and then moving on. This one, pretty good. I love it. Okay, David Moreno, it's pretty cool. You know, another one, this is with, I think, one of those HEIC ones, you know, you can deal with that for the future, but for this, it's perspective and quality of light, okay? Perspective, looking downwards at this plant, it's pretty cool. Notice there's no distractions in it. There's not a wrapper over here or a garbage can or, you know, dead squirrel line there or something. It's just what you're supposed to be looking at in here. Okay, if I open this one with Photoshop, and then I go over to Camera Raw, I'll make a new copy of it. Camera Raw filter, go to filter, Camera Raw, not this one, go down to Camera Raw filter over here. And then the one thing is, okay, I left my letter O turned on. Okay, that's why those red were there. That's what I'm going to deal with. Okay, but while I'm here, I'm going to do all of it. Okay, I'm going to do the clarity at 10 because I always do. I learned that from some guy. And then my exposure also, I think it's pretty close, you know. And then, you know, you have to deal with the blacks. I think you're good. Maybe there. All right, and the whites. What you don't want is get see that stuff, that red? You can have very tiny bit of it, and that's it. You want to deal with, because that's blown out. This is a JPEG. JPEGs are different than RAW files. JPEGs are pixels. If it's red there, it means it's blown out. There's nothing in the pixel. There's nothing there. I can't go any closer than that. I'll show you closer in Photoshop. But you want to get this just so that the picture looks like you were there. Your eyes will adjust for that. You won't get the blown out pixels with your eyeballs. You want this picture to look like when you're there. So there's the original, and then there's, I'm changing it to the whole thing is helping the whole thing. It looks better, I think. Like that, right? So I hit OK. And then I can toggle this one. Here's the original, and then the edited one here, okay? So if I zoom in, I'll go to the original here, and I'll try to zoom in. What I mean by pixels is, I'll zoom in closer if I can. Let's see how much it'll let me. Yeah, now you see these little squares. These are pixels. The pixels, they have, I don't know how many millions of colors nowadays, but there's a lot of colors in here, millions or billions or whatever it is. But these little squares, every one of them has a different color in there. And this part in here, there's nothing here. There's nothing there. That's why it's called blown out. There's nothing there. So you don't want to get rid of all of it all the time, but you're going to end up with not being able to edit a picture the way you want to. If you take a JPEG and it's overexposed or underexposed, you're not going to be able to fix it. Okay. So for this one, I'll say this one is a Photoshop document, and then as a JPEG. All right, and close this one down. That's a great shot. That might have won Photo of the Month. I don't know. Oh, did I tell you? I'm not judging Photo of the Month. I do the photos of the week, and then I take all the photos of the week. I'm going to send them in a folder to, I've got 5 judges, a couple people from Channel 10 News. I've got a content creator who used to be a student here 5-6 years ago. He won California Skills USA Photographer of the Year for California. And then he and I went to Missouri, Kansas City, or no, St. Louis we went to for Skills USA Nationals. For a week. I had to spend a week with this guy over there. We had a good time there. It was good. So he won 6th place in the nation. So that was Mike Noga. He's one of my advisory panel people, and I've got an independent videographer and a professional photographer. These 5 people are going to be judging all your pictures for Photo of the Month. They decide who wins that. I just get them ready. If I don't think it's got a chance for Photo of the Month, that's why it didn't win Photo of the Week. Okay, so that's what's going on with that. All right, moving on. Got a few more to go, and okay, this one. This one's pretty cool. This was taken with a Canon camera. This is Mike Noga's sister, as a matter of fact. So Elmira took this picture with her brother's camera. It's pretty cool, but let's look at it. I'm going to show you what we're going to do, okay? So I'm open with Photoshop. Okay, here it is. First, I'm going to fix it in Photoshop, and then I'll deal with Camera Raw, and then we'll deal with the angles. Okay, camera raw filter, I'll go over to this one. Now, I wasn't there, but it looks like this is the shadow right here. I can see the shadow of that and all that, so I'm going to deal with this. Same thing, I like to go to 10, I'm going to do the exposure, get it just right. Look, no, too blue, too bright. As close as I think it would look to my eyeballs there. I'm going to go with the blacks, look at that one, okay. And then the whites, that's already pretty bright there. Okay, hit the letter P, that's what I got so far. See, I'm toggling that. And then I can deal with the shadows. Now, again, I wasn't there, but what do I think would be a natural looking shot if this is super bright up top and this is down below, it's in the shadows here. You know, go like that, and then highlights. Okay, so I'm looking at the blue skies right now, actually. So I think that's good. I think that's where I'd put this picture, because again, she had the camera set on manual, and she set the shutter speed, the aperture, and the ISO and all that, but the camera can really only shoot for really one thing. The eyeball, when you move around with your eyes, you're seeing a lot fast, okay? So we don't see it like this. The camera does. We want it to look like this. So I'm going to hit OK on that. Next. Okay, I'm going to make another layer for this because I want to adjust the angles of this. Notice how this is taken with a 50 millimeter focal length here, I believe, and it's just, we got this is crooked, that's crooked. I want to make the flag, it's pretty much in the middle. I want the flag to be straight up. That's where it should be. So I'm going to make a new layer, and well, first, actually, I'm going to straighten this one. So I'm going to go to the crop tool, and I'm going to turn it. I'm looking at the flag in the middle, okay? That flag pole in the middle, I think that's pretty straight across. I can go over to my ruler and bring it over, and I think it's pretty straight there. So, right, so there you go. So these lines here and there, I want to straighten them. I'm going to show you how to do that. So if I put a ruler line at the bottom of this right here, up to the top, I'll put another one over here. From there, these ruler lines are just there for me to use. There up the top. So what I can do is on a new layer, I'm going to hit Control J, and I'm going to call this one Distort. There's a number of other ways you can do it too, but I'm doing it this way. I don't need to make it perfect, but pretty close. I'm going to Edit, Transform, Distort on the new layer. And I can take these corners here and take that out to there. This is straighter here. I'm going to take this one. Now it's going to affect the other one a little bit too. All right. Notice it brought that out a little bit too. Okay. But I don't need it perfect. It's pretty close though. Okay. So, all right. And that's still straight in the middle, I believe. Okay. So I'm going to hit Enter. Notice I kept the lines on the picture though. You can't get them off or you gotta recrop it. All right, I'll get rid of these lines. I'll just put them back. Okay. So there's the picture. If you just look at that like you're looking at it for the first time, you wouldn't really notice that it was like that at first, and now it's like that. Because guess what? Your eyes don't see it like that. Your eyes see it like this. The reason it's like that is because of the lens. The round lens, taking a rectangle picture, is going to distort on the outside, depending on how long the focal length is on there. So, do you have to do it? No, you don't have to, but you know what? That's better. That's how it looked. That's how it's supposed to look. So, that's why I'm teaching that. So, that's the dealio. So, for this, I'm going to go to File, Save As. I'll put _edit on here. Okay, and I'm going to do it again as a JPEG. Save as. Change this over to JPEG. You might have to do save a copy. JPEG. It's called that already. Save. All right. Okay. So that's that one. Okay, a few more to go. Okay, Asma did a cool one. Now these are NEF files. She borrowed a school camera, went to a football game, and took some shots. She hadn't learned about NEF files yet. I told her, upload all the pictures, JPEGs and NEFs. There's a JPEG and an NEF taken by the camera if it's set that way. So you get two copies of the same picture. One's a JPEG, which I showed you, those little tiny pixels, and one's an NEF file, okay, a Nikon electronic file. It's a computer file, okay, you can't see it, but the computer can read it. So I'm going to double click it, and it automatically opens up in Camera Raw. It just does, because it is one of those pictures, okay. Now this one I'm just showing it to you because, well, this is one I'm going to leave in there for photo of the month, or photo of the week. You can see his face here. She called it exhaustion, okay, and this was taken, let's call it the golden hour. The sun's going down, it's the end of the JV game, sun's still up, but it's just hitting the stadium from an angle. You can see the harsh shadows here, the nice light on here actually, not harsh shadows, but so I wasn't there at this time, but you know, you wouldn't want to make it look like it was, you know, 1 o'clock in the afternoon, because it wasn't. It was probably close to 6:30, 7-ish, 6:30 or so. Sun's going down, but you want to make it look like that still. I'm going to start with exposure there. I'll go clarity to 10. And then deal with the blacks. Now the uniforms, they got black uniforms, but you don't want to make them totally solid black, right? But, you know, looking at this, I can adjust that in shadows a little bit too. But that looks good. And then the whites, looking at the Nike logo there maybe. You know, you want to blow that out. And then you can deal with shadows. I'll just do it all the way. See, it's not a gray uniform. It's a black uniform, but you don't want to blacken it so much you can't see anything on the uniform, right? So you want to get it to look like you were there, if possible, like that. So that's pretty close as it is. That, and then highlights. You know, dealing with that. Notice the bench in the background and all that. What we care about is the player. Look at the player's skin right in here. As I do highlights like that, you wouldn't want to put it like that, right? So get it to where, you know, you think it looks just about right, like you were there. And, you know, it's pretty close. So I'm going to hit the letter P on my keyboard to toggle. There's the original, a little bit darker, and there's, I think that's good, you know. So, so I'll hit, now for this one, this is a different picture. It's not just, don't just hit open. You got to remember this now. You're going to have to hold the shift button down, and then it says open object. Okay? I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to hit shift and open object. And then in Photoshop, what happens is, it opens it as a smart object here. That little triangle, or that little thing in the corner of my layer preview thingy here, that means it's a smart object. What that means is, if I don't like what I have here, I can double click that little smart object thingy. Because notice, I opened it right from the file, and it went right to Photoshop. I didn't make a new layer, but I opened it as a smart object. Now I can double click that smart object, and it opens it back up into Camera Raw with my settings, what I had set there. I can make any adjustments I want to, right? I'll take the blacks all the way and the whites all the way, just to screw it up. And I hit OK. And then it screws it up. Well, all right, no, I don't want that. Smart object. Double click it. It opens it back up. It remembers where everything's set. I'm going to put this back to where it should be. Put that back to where it should be. Okay, so that's why you want to use, you want to shift to open this, to make it open as an object. That's super important, because if you don't, you're just going to open the file up and you're stuck with that, and you want to do something different, you're going to have to start over. Okay, if anybody has another way of saving that, let me know, but that's the way I learned it. So that's what you do. And at this point, if you want to do some changes or whatever, I would definitely, you're going to want to make a copy of it. Control J. Notice the second one is also a smart object. What you do is you right mouse click it and go to Rasterize Layer. When you rasterize a smart object, what you're doing is you're turning it into a normal type of image that you can edit with the clone tool and brushes, and just do whatever, like normal Photoshop stuff to it. Because you can't, if I'm on this layer, and I try to do something to it, it's going to give me a do not. I can't do it. It says smart object must be rasterized before proceeding, okay? Edit contents will no longer be available. Rasterize a smart object? No, because I want this one rasterized. I already did this one. This one's rasterized. That's why you want to do it, okay? So on this one, if I wanted to use my brush tool, for example, which I won't save this, but let's say I use my brush tool, and there you go. So I can do it on that layer because it's rasterized, okay? So that's the difference. I want to teach you that, and you guys are learning it. So there you go. It's in here, okay? So if you open up an NEF file, which is better, it is better than a JPEG. That's why we shoot with our Nikon cameras, or if you have a Canon camera or Sony or whatever, shoot in RAW, and we'll open up the RAW image and deal with camera RAW. If you have a picture that's blown out too much, you can fix it more easily in camera raw than if you have a JPEG image that's blown out, okay, or too dark. You know, it saves the information better, and you can save it better. I'll be doing a different lesson on that, where you have a whole bunch of overexposed pictures. You'll be saving them in camera raw, okay? But that's how you do that one, and that's what I would do with this picture. And you know, there you have it. So I'm going to go to File, Save As. And that's important too, because you want to save this deal here, because if we open it up, we say, oh, for Yearbook, it's just too dark to put this in there because that's way too dark. We have to lighten it because when ink hits a printed page on a piece of paper for a book, it's just darker. You got to do certain things with it, but I'll save it the way it is now with _edit as a Photoshop document, because we got these layers in here in the smart object. Right, and then we go to File, Save As, and then it's a JPEG. Save that. 12 baseline standard. Right, and that is that one. Okay, that's a good shot. She's got a couple more. This one is also an NEF file. I'm not going to leave this one in the folder for Photo of the Week. I'm not going to submit it for Photo of the Week. I'm showing you these three. She took 3 football pictures to submit for Photo of the Week. What I meant to tell you was, for Photo of the Week pictures, if you want to choose 3 different pictures, you've got to choose 3 different categories. Okay, we've got student life, academics, miscellany, you know, portrait, you know, whatever is listed on there. One of each. Three. Okay, don't give me 3 football pictures. This is cool. It's all right, but it's I mean, it's got symmetry, okay. 2 guys, can't see their faces really. They're battling, okay. But I'm not going to submit that one. She got her football one in, all right. And there was one more I'll show you too that she turned in, and I'm just going to tell you, you know what? It's all right. I told all my photographers at football, I try to get a lot of faces and stuff. That first one we showed you with the emotion on there, she called it exhausted. Maybe he's upset about a play. Who knows? Or I don't know. But this one, look, he's just, I don't know what he's doing. He's standing there looking or walking somewhere. You know what? There's nothing going on here, really. The light on his face is cool. It's a close-up shot and all that. You can see the helmet. All right, but Photo of the Week, no. So moving on. This one, it's pretty cool. So which one of you think you know the answer to this one? Why is this one in need of some kind of editing? What's the deal? Yes. Right, the fork. You know what? If you're going to have the fork in there, either put the fork in there or don't have the fork in there. One of the two. This is kind of like, there's a little bit of the problems with the fork sticking in there. It's like, so let's do this. We're going to go to Photoshop. I'm just going to deal with the cropping in this. I'm not going to deal with any camera raw color on it. It looks fine. You could deal with it, but it's fine. I'm going to use the crop tool for this lesson. Now, use the Shift button, and let's say I want to crop it. All I want is just to get the fork out, right? Like that is enough. That's good. Notice I'm on ratio with nothing selected here. Don't leave it on width, height, resolution, and numbers, all that junk. Just leave it on ratio. And you want to leave this brightness for the sun in there. I would leave this in here. I'd leave it just to give it. I mean, you could do that, maybe. You could bring it up. Like, you could, but you know what? This gives it a place. It's not it's not like a tiny little bit of distraction there. It's enough that you can see the table setting that it's on. Maybe you can see what it's on. All right. You could bring it down a little more, maybe, you know, but I don't know how much you want to get rid of. You could balance it a little straighter, top and bottom. Up to you. So Rakia's going to be messing with this one on her own. If it's me, I would keep it about. I put it about right there, like that. There you go. It looks nice. It's pretty cool, right? You know what? I could actually bring it in just a tiny bit. Maybe right here. Okay. Cut that off this, like that side a little bit. That's good. So I go here, save as. Now this one, I didn't do anything else in Photoshop with it. If you do Camera Raw, you're going to get a Photoshop deal. But this one, I just did mess with a JPEG. I'm going to go underscore edit, and that's it. It's going to be an edited JPEG in there. So you turn in 2, not 3 files. You turn in both JPEGs, the original JPEG and the edited JPEG, which is just cropped. Okay, so that's that one. You go into the folder. You'll see there they are. Okay, they're both the same, but one's cropped a little closer. The force out of it, you know. So that's that. This next one, we got 2 pictures here that I'm just going to show you. Ashley Ramos did this one. Looks pretty cool. And then there's that one. There's the original picture, and she said in her write-up that she edited it on her phone, and she did a good job. You know, I've got an iPhone, so on my phone there's editing tools that I can use on there to adjust pretty much everything I'm doing in Camera Raw. Very similar. Some things are called something different, but overall I can change the exposure, the color, I can sharpen it, I can deal with contrast. I don't remember about blacks and whites in there. Some detail. That's what you can do on these phones. It's pretty good. All right, I want to show you that for that reason. I think as far as the size of it, you see, you know, she used her iPhone 11. It's still, she cropped it, but it's not too cropped down. It's still 12 megapixels. So, you know, I want to show you those. Okay. So the only problem with it though is, you see this April 2nd dealio here? For photos of the week, your photos of the week have to be taken for that week, okay? So the photos of the week from, you know, last Thursday to Wednesday, that's when the photos are taken, okay? I don't want you turning in photos that were, we had a few like that, but I want to show you the editing she did in there, okay? So the photo was taken April 2nd. Well, guess what? We're in September. All right, so that's that. But you can do this on your phone as well, okay? This program I have right now is not set up to do showing stuff on the phone without me doing a video camera and editing it in, but that's another lesson there, okay? So overall, good job editing there, okay? And what else I want to show? This last one here, okay? So Alexander's in, he's in my production class, and they have to use DSLRs for this, but he's also in the yearbook class, and he used a smartphone for this one. So we talked, and I told him use your DSLR for everything because he's like a pro now. So, but this is pretty cool. At first, I was just looking at the light, and it seemed like it was up against a house with maybe wood or vinyl siding or whatever. Then I thought, no way, those are power lines. All right, but it's pretty cool with the light in here. And again, you can open with Photoshop, and I'll go Control J because I have to make my own layer for this one, Camera Raw filter. Again, one last time, you can edit this background one without making a new layer. If you do, you're making it permanent. There's nothing you can undo about it if you close it and open it again. That's why I make a new layer. So you can always go back to it, dump that one, and start over with a new one. So I'm going to filter, and then Camera Raw filter. This comes up. I'll deal with this one just to show you what clarity does. You know, I start with 10, but you know what? If there's a special thing about it, you know, it doesn't have to be 10. But again, don't overcook your pictures. All right, you want to make it look like you were there. Okay, so I'm going to recommend you go with that, and you can also double click in there and type in the number and enter. Okay, And then get your exposure right. Also, you know, the sun is kind of setting, you know, it's going down-ish. It's not quite down. I'd say it's, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 o'clock-ish. And you can deal with your, you know, your black pixels and your white pixels, which are already bright, and your shadows. Again, you wouldn't do that because the sun's back there. The sun's behind it. All the stuff in front is darker. But the camera's trying to average everything out. It doesn't know that the sun's back over there, and this is a tree, and that's a fence. It doesn't know that. So you want to just think about what your eyes saw when you were there, taking the picture. All right? So, you know, how bright was it? Was it blinding you through there? But the sun's going down a little bit, you know. So you got to decide that. I hit the letter P on my keyboard, and then there's the original. That's what I'm making it to. I vote for the one I'm making it to. And okay. And that's that. You can crop it too, maybe, you know. Especially down here, you got some stuff coming up through the fence there and all that. You know, maybe, you know, hold the shift button down. You know, that's what I would do with it. Looks pretty cool. It's right in the middle, down in Spot 2, quality of light. Alexander actually had 6 or 7 different things listed in here for his elements, so he did a good job with it overall. So I'm going to go to Save As. It's going to be Photoshop document. I'll do _edit. And then I'm going to do the Save As again, JPEG. And that ends lesson 4, the photos of the week for September 8, 2021. My next lesson tomorrow is going to be on a folder called Lesson. And the pictures that were turned in that didn't make photo of the week, for whatever reason, went into the lesson folder. The ones that I want to talk about. And there are other ones that didn't make it too that went into just simply submissions that I'm not going to really mention. You can look at them if you want. But tomorrow I'll be going over, or the next lesson I do will be going over the lesson folder. And these did not make photo of the week, but I want to show them to you. By the way, the pictures in that folder, they do not have names on them. So you won't know who took the pictures because some students don't want to be identified as doing something wrong. So I took the names off. Okay, so they're just names, a generic name. So that's the next one. All right, thanks for paying attention, and good luck.